My childhood sweetheart Ethan was diagnosed with leukemia, so I sold my house and gave him all my savings just to save his life. After his recovery, he cried to me and vowed he would cherish me for the rest of his life. He proposed to me, and I happily said yes. Yet, 3 years into our marriage, his long-lost first love returned. That day, Ethan came home and pushed me off the balcony. "Emma, how can I be with Isabella if you don't die?" I stared at his sinister expression, filled with hatred, as I fell from the 20th floor. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day before Ethan was diagnosed with leukemia. 1. Emma, let's break up. When Ethan said those words, I knew I had been reborn. In my past life, he broke up with me on this very day, and I begged him to stay. He told me he had fallen in love with Isabella. For her, he was willing to give up everything. But on the day he was diagnosed with leukemia, Isabella left him. It was me who still loved Ethan. For him, I sold the house my parents left me and gave all my inheritance to Ethan, just to save him. That day, I still remember clearly how desperate Ethan was upon learning Isabella had left. He held me, crying, and told me he could never forgive Isabella in this lifetime. But after he recovered and Isabella returned from abroad, he completely forgot about the harm she had caused him. Instead, he pushed me, the one who had pulled him out of the abyss, off the balcony. At that moment, all I felt for Ethan was pure hatred. Had he forgotten that in our past life, to save him, I not only sold all my assets but also worked 3 jobs a day? I subsisted on the cheapest fast food, pushing myself until I developed chronic stomach problems, not to mention collapsing unconscious countless times. But I shouldn't have had to endure such suffering in the first place. Chloe, I know I've wronged you, but Isabella is the one I truly love. Let's break up. I watched Ethan lower his head, his evasive gaze, and I smiled. Fine, I nodded and said. In my past life, Ethan broke up with me on this very day. I had pleaded desperately, but in the end, he simply abandoned me and went straight to Isabella. I never expected that Ethan would call me the very next day, telling me he had been diagnosed with leukemia. After Isabella found out, she ran away, and now he wanted me to visit him. In my past life, I loved Ethan deeply. When I heard about his condition, I rushed to the hospital immediately. I even gave him everything I had to help cover his medical expenses. After we got married, he constantly complained about how much debt I had accumulated. But he never stopped to think, if it weren't for him, why would I have gone to such lengths? Now, given a second chance, why should I suffer like this again? I have money now, so I can experience everything I couldn't in my past life, no longer needing to pinch pennies for grocery money like I did before. My response left Ethan stunned. He hadn't expected me to agree to his breakup request immediately, without the slightest attempt to persuade him to stay. Ethan, since we're breaking up, shouldn't you return all the gifts I gave you? I still remember, during these years of dating, I'd given Ethan quite a few expensive presents. And what about him? The only thing he ever gave me was a music box worth about $20 on my birthday. Clearly, he hadn't expected me to bring up these accounts. He froze on the spot. Chloe, those were gifts you gave me. He said nervously, yes, but weren't those presents from when we were dating? Since you don't want to be with me anymore, why not return them? I looked at Ethan and spoke up. Okay. Ethan took a deep breath and said, I'll give it back to you. He was clearly angry but had no choice. By the way, on my birthday, you gave me a music box. I threw it in the trash. I checked. That thing was worth $20, so here's $40. I pulled out $40 in cash and handed it to Ethan. Where's my stuff? Ethan's face darkened, but he had no choice. He gathered everything I'd given him and handed it back. He looked at these gifts with a pang in his heart. After all, in my past life, I had bought them all based on Ethan's preferences just to please him. I carried a pile of gifts back home and casually found a second-hand luxury consignment shop to sell them off. After finishing all this, I directly packed a bunch of things and went to a resort to enjoy myself. In my past life, I had been working non-stop from the moment I woke up until I fell asleep, all to take care of Ethan. Now, it was finally time for me to have some fun. 2. On the second afternoon, while I was still having fun at the resort, I received a call from Ethan. On the phone, Ethan's voice was low as he said to me, Chloe, I'm sick. Hearing this, a faint smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. I knew Ethan had already figured out his condition. Ethan's family wasn't well off, and since starting work, he'd been spending money extravagantly, barely saving anything at all. In my past life, if I hadn't given everything for him, he wouldn't have survived at all. Now I understand, he wants me to save him. In my previous life, I loved Ethan and was willing to abandon everything for him. But in this life, I wish he would just die immediately. Is that so? I spoke coldly. Didn't Isabella take care of you? After all, she's your girlfriend now. My words left Ethan in silence. After all, just yesterday he had broken up with me, declaring that he would love Isabella alone for the rest of his life. Isabella, she left me. Ethan's voice was low and heavy. Chloe, I have a serious illness, Leukemia. Oh, I see. Wishing you a speedy recovery, I replied coldly. Upon hearing my response, Ethan was stunned. He never expected such a reaction from me. In his mind, I should have been concerned the moment I learned about his illness. But I didn't. My indifference left him stunned. Deep down, he knew I loved him, otherwise, he wouldn't have made this call. Thus, my reaction rendered Ethan completely at a loss in that moment. Chloe, this illness, it's fatal. He suddenly spoke those words to me. I know, I said matter-of-factly, but this shouldn't have anything to do with me. After all, I've broken up with you. Isabella is your girlfriend now. You should tell her. My words left Ethan completely stunned. He murmured softly, Chloe, I don't want to die. Ethan, try to see things differently. You're sick. These things can't be helped. Hurry home and discuss with your parents about how to save you. I pretended to comfort him in my past life. Right after he finished saying these words to me, I immediately told him I would sell my house and give him all the money I had, as long as he could survive. Thinking back now, I was truly foolish in my previous life. Chloe, how can you be so heartless? He suddenly asked emotionally. I'm your boyfriend, and I'm dying. Aren't you going to save me? Ethan, you should remember, yesterday, you told me yourself that we've already broken up. I quietly turned on my phone's recording function while saying aloud. You said your favorite was Isabella, not me. You were the one who broke up with me. Chloe, I was wrong. Isabella left me. She doesn't love me. Only now do I realize that you're the only one who truly loved me. On the other end of the line, Ethan's words struck me as downright outrageous. The sheer audacity was beyond belief. I scoffed coldly and replied, now that you've been diagnosed with leukemia and Isabella abandoned you, suddenly I'm good enough again, is that it? Ethan said bitterly, Chloe, I was deceived by Isabella. She ran away after finding out about my diagnosis. I know you wouldn't abandon me like this, right? Why should I care about you? Yesterday, you were the one who broke up with me? I spoke coldly. Chloe, yesterday was my fault. I swear I'll treat you well from now on. Please come back. Once I recover, I promise to marry you. Ethan, I said icily, sorry, but I no longer want to marry you. 3. The moment I hung up the phone, I felt an extraordinary sense of relief. In my previous life, when I was pushed off the balcony, I could still vividly remember Ethan's madness. How could I possibly care about him in this life? I continued with my trip, while Ethan's family clearly had no intention of letting me off. That very night, Ethan's mother called me. Chloe, this is Ethan's mom. I heard you two had a fight and broke up. From the other end of the line, Ethan's mother spoke up. Our Ethan can be immature sometimes, but Chloe, you're a sensible girl. Auntie, Ethan and I didn't quarrel, it's just that he broke up with me. I spoke up, knowing exactly what Ethan's family was implying. In my past life, when I used all my savings to pay for Ethan's treatment, his mother hadn't seemed surprised at all. I knew they'd been counting on me to save him from the start. Now, this phone call surely came only after Ethan had spoken with her about it. On the other end of the phone, Ethan's mother paused for a moment before saying, Ethan has been immature, and he actually regrets it now. He just told me he still likes you. Ethan's mother spoke up, while I responded, Auntie, since he broke up with me, we have no connection anymore. Please don't disturb me. With that, I was ready to hang up. But on the other end, Ethan's mother suddenly grew frantic. He spoke directly, Chloe, how could you abandon Ethan at such a critical moment? Don't you have a shred of humanity? She had already sensed that I didn't want to deal with Ethan anymore, and immediately tried to emotionally blackmail me. I calmly replied, Auntie, wasn't it your son who abandoned me first? My cold demeanor left Ethan's mother momentarily stunned. She spoke up, saying, Chloe, I always thought you were a sensible child. Auntie, I am sensible. Precisely because I'm sensible, I know. Why should I care about someone who doesn't love me? I asked coldly. Then, without waiting for Ethan's mother to respond, I hung up the phone. After what happened in my previous life, there's no way I'm stepping into the pit that is Ethan's family in this lifetime. I continued enjoying my time at the resort, but that day, I received a call from my best friend. Chloe, you've gone viral online, my best friend exclaimed over the phone. Ethan has posted accusations online saying you abandoned him after finding out about his illness. Hearing this, I froze for a moment, then nodded and said, I see. I'd long anticipated that Ethan's family would pull something like this. Otherwise, I wouldn't have recorded it. I knew perfectly well that Ethan was desperate. He was just trying to push me, to force me to save him. I hung up on my best friend and glanced at my phone to check the internet. On social media, Ethan's tearful video was going viral, with numerous comments beneath it. In the video, Ethan wept as he claimed his girlfriend had abandoned him because he had leukemia. In the video, he pretended to be affectionate, constantly talking about how hard his life was and how good he had been to me. Moreover, he spent all his savings because of me. And now that he's in this state, I'm the one abandoning him. I glanced at the comments under the video. Many were calling me a malicious schemer, even outright labeling me a gold digger. I didn't speak, nor did I even feel angry. After all, from the very beginning, I knew exactly what kind of people they were. 4. Just as I was browsing through the videos, Ethan's mom called again, and I answered the phone directly. On the phone, Ethan's mother immediately spoke up. "Chloe, you've seen the videos online too, right? Auntie, what do you plan to do?" I asked bluntly, cutting straight to the point. I know that when Ethan's mom calls me, it must be because she wants something. Since that's the case, I might as well ask and make it clear. Ethan's mother said smugly, "Chloe, you know my son is sick. As his girlfriend, shouldn't you contribute some money?" Listening to Ethan's mother's shameless words, I laughed. This family really does have its eyes on me. In my previous life, I trusted Ethan too much, and that's how I ended up in such a miserable state. But in this life, why should I? "Auntie, are you perhaps mistaken?" I feigned surprise as I said, "Your son and I broke up long ago. He told me he loves Isabella, not me." Hearing this, Ethan's mother on the other end of the line coldly replied, "I know my son broke up with you, but that's no reason for you to abandon him. Now that my son is ill, how could you possibly leave him?" Ethan's mom left me speechless. Her twisted logic made me especially angry. "Chloe, I know your parents left you some money. As his girlfriend, shouldn't you be spending it to treat my son's illness?" Ethan's mother's words made me realize their whole family truly had their eyes on my money. "Sorry, Ethan's mom. My money is for me to spend. After breaking up with Ethan, there's no way I'm taking care of him. Percent. I spoke coldly and then hung up the phone directly. As for the online abuse, I wasn't afraid of it at all. Moreover, with several recordings in my possession, I knew the impact on me would be minimal. After traveling for a few days, I returned home. However, I didn't expect Ethan's family to show up at my doorstep the moment I got back. Ethan's mother stormed into my house with a group of relatives and, without hesitation, slapped me across the face. "I'll teach you this vile little wench to ignore my son." She glared at me fiercely as she spoke, barging into my home with her entourage in tow. "Chloe, let me make this clear. My son's upcoming medical treatments will be outrageously expensive. Hand over your parents' money immediately. As his girlfriend, you're responsible for his recovery." Mrs. Ethan's words froze me in shock. Their entire family had sunk to unimaginable levels of shamelessness. Seeing that I didn't respond, Ethan's mother barged into my house again, dragging people with her. I wanted to call the police, but the group of them had already pinned me down. At the same time, some of them were ransacking my house, taking quite a few things. "Chloe, where's your bank card? Hurry up and hand it over. I'm warning you, if anything happens to my son, I won't let you off easy." She stared at me, her eyes filled with warning. I remained silent, coldly watching Ethan's mother, wanting to see what else she was capable of doing. Ethan's mother stared at me without a word, then led her people to ransack my house directly, warning me as she did, "Let me tell you, I'll be back again. You'd better hand over the money. If anything happens to Ethan, I won't let you off." She left arrogantly, while I, looking at my completely trashed home, chose to call the police. The police arrived quickly, and when they saw the state of my house, they frowned in disapproval. I quickly explained everything to the police. At the same time, I produced the recordings. The threats and intimidation from Ethan's mother were crystal clear in the audio. "Officer, they broke into my home illegally, committed robbery, issued threats, and even spread malicious rumors about me online." Speaking up, I demanded, "I insist on severe punishment." I knew at this point I couldn't tolerate it anymore. In my previous life, if it weren't for me, Ethan's family would have been ruined long ago. But what did I get in return? They left quickly that night, and the police informed me that Ethan's mother had been arrested. He came to my house with his gang to smash things up. Combined with the solid evidence I had in hand, it was more than enough. Ethan's mother made a scene at the police station, claiming I broke up with him because he was sick, and that he only trashed my place out of anger. Until I played the recording, she froze in shock. She had never imagined I would actually record it. At that moment, I watched as Ethan's mother glared at me with a fierce expression in her eyes. She snarled at me, "Chloe, you're trying to destroy our entire family. Ethan is already in this state, and you still won't let me go?" Her voice was shrill, while I watched her coldly. After Ethan's mother was taken away, I returned home and gathered a few people to tidy up the house. Just as I lay down, I was startled awake by urgent knocking at the door. Peering through the peephole, I saw Ethan standing outside my home. His face was slightly pale, and he looked furious as he kept pounding on my door. "Chloe, I know you're home. If anything happens to my mom, I won't let you off easy," he shouted angrily at my front door. Hearing his words, I recalled how in my previous life he had thrown me off the building directly, and couldn't help but feel a surge of terror. I was alone. If Ethan lost control, there'd be no way I could stop him. I called the apartment manager to have Ethan removed, then quickly started searching online for new places to live. There was no way I could stay in this home any longer. I knew Ethan would definitely come back. I found an apartment complex with exceptionally tight security and moved in first thing the next morning. As for my old home, I installed surveillance cameras at the entrance and left it at that. The day I moved out, Ethan was still publicly denouncing me online. He claimed his mother got thrown in jail by me when she came to confront me in anger. The online abuse escalated wildly, the internet storm propelling me straight into the eye of a public hurricane. Their unchecked vitriol manifested in reality. Streamers showed up at my former residence, splashing paint on my doorway while self-proclaimed justice warriors even attempted to break in. I watched this scene through the surveillance footage, secretly relieved that I had already moved out. I reported these people's actions to the police and left it at that. The next day, I saw the police announcement these individuals were criminally detained for willful destruction of others' property, and splashing paint at my house constituted intimidation. 6. I originally thought that after things had escalated to this point, those people would quiet down. But I never expected that the less I showed up, the more those people online thought I was guilty. On top of that, Ethan went live, constantly egging them on to find me while tearfully pleading about how his illness required money. A group of uninformed netizens sent Ethan considerable sums. Watching this unfold only fueled my anger further, especially after learning I wasn't home. Some streamers, seeking clout, even vandalized my place mercilessly, all while claiming moral righteousness. That day, Ethan called me. "Chloe, my mom's court hearing is coming up. You'd better tell the police it was all a misunderstanding immediately, or else you'll regret it." On the phone, Ethan was boasting smugly. These past few days, he had gained many advantages by playing the victim, making him believe that I must be terrified right now. Yet here I am, sitting at home reading online comments. The crazier these people behave, the worse Ethan will suffer when the truth comes out. He has deceived everyone, but I have the evidence, and so do the police. It's just that the case is still under investigation and can't be disclosed yet. Once the verdict is announced in Ethan's mother's case and the police publish their statement, my name will finally be cleared. As for Ethan, with so many people deceived by him, he'll definitely end up worse off than me. I'm actually not afraid. During these past days, those streamers came to my place to cause trouble, and just from compensation alone, I've already received quite a bit. Ethan, this matter isn't up to me to decide. Your mother came to my place to destroy things. Do you think I'd let this slide? I spoke icily. Ethan, you know exactly what you've done. When the time comes, don't end up digging your own grave. On the other end of the phone, Ethan spoke coldly. Chloe, don't you understand? If I say something bad about you online, they'll tear you apart. He truly believed those people would actually listen to what he's saying now. He simply didn't understand those online comments might help him, but they could also destroy him. Ethan, she countered, if those people found out you lied to them, what do you think they'd do to you? I shot back. It was clearly you who broke up with me. You said you wanted to be with Isabella. After you got sick and Isabella abandoned you, you suddenly turned your focus back on me. So what? They're so easy to fool. Ethan sneered coldly. Chloe, you'd better be smart about this. If my mom doesn't get out, I'll definitely make them kill you. Listening to Ethan's words, I was utterly speechless. Does he really believe that by whining online, those people would kill for his sake? He simply doesn't realize, those people only help him out of pity, nothing more. But what if those people find out he's deceived everyone? I can't even imagine what will happen to Ethan next. Of course, remembering how he pushed me off the balcony in my previous life, I'm actually looking forward to seeing this scene unfold. Ethan's mother's case was quickly brought to judgment, and as the police verdict came down, I simultaneously released all the information online. From Ethan breaking up with me for his first love, to Ethan falling ill and Isabella leaving, and then how Ethan's family pressured me, trying to force me to use my parents' inheritance to pay for Ethan's treatment. In the end, they even released all the phone call recordings. In those recordings, Ethan's mother and Ethan's words were unmistakably clear. They were solely trying to coerce me into using my parents' inheritance to fund Ethan's treatment. Besides, it was Ethan who broke up with me first. I was the victim. In an instant, public opinion online completely reversed. No one had expected that this matter would turn out like this. With the audio recording, Ethan's arrogant attitude during the call, and my home surveillance footage, all served as undeniable proof of what kind of people Ethan's family truly were. Online, those who had once hurled abuse at me instantly shifted their aim and began attacking Ethan instead. They kept cursing Ethan as shameless under his video. Meanwhile, they wished Ethan would die soon. I even came across a streamer who was planning to visit the hospital to find Ethan. While casually following the drama, I clicked into this live stream. I also wanted to see what Ethan looked like now. 7. In the video, a group of streamers barged straight into the hospital. Ethan was in the hospital ward, his face deathly pale from terror. When the crowd rushed into the ward, I could clearly see Ethan's ghastly expression. He tried to scream, but those streamers completely ignored him. They immediately pinned him to the ground and started kicking and punching Ethan. Witnessing this scene filled me with immense satisfaction. Meanwhile, those netizens who had previously chosen to donate to Ethan began filing lawsuits against him one after another, demanding their money back. Ethan couldn't possibly repay the money. They started vandalizing Ethan's home, leaving it completely unrecognizable from the destruction. Early the next morning, I received a call from Ethan. "Chloe, please save me. I know you still love me, don't you?" On the phone, Ethan spoke tearfully. He had been pushed beyond his limits by those internet users. His home was vandalized. When he went to the hospital, he was turned away. The main issue was that every time he arrived at any hospital, a crowd of live streamers would immediately track him down. Hospitals didn't dare admit Ethan. Now he had nowhere left to turn. Listening to Ethan's accusations over the phone, I laughed outright and said, "Ethan, we've already broken up. Your true love is Isabella, not me. So please stop calling me. There's nothing between us anymore." On the other end of the line, Ethan grew frantic immediately. Raising his voice, he exclaimed, "Chloe, I know you still love me. You said it yourself, you'd love me for your entire lifetime." His words filled me with disgust. In my past life, I had indeed loved him deeply, so deeply that I endured endless suffering for him, believing it all worthwhile. But what has my love gained me? Nothing but Ethan's betrayal. In this life, I had long given up on Ethan. Moreover, with the mother and son pulling such stunts, who would even pay them any attention? "Chloe, I know, when your aunt and uncle passed away, they left you a considerable inheritance. That money could definitely help me overcome this crisis. Just help me through this, and I'll listen to you for the rest of my life." On the other end of the line, Ethan spoke with frantic desperation. "Ethan, I don't love you anymore." I spoke calmly. "I think I should find a boyfriend in good health. You're not suitable." My words instantly enraged Ethan. "Chloe, are you really going to do this?" On the other end of the line, Ethan kept shouting, "Chloe, are you really not going to help me?" "No." I hung up the phone, couldn't even be bothered to listen to Ethan's continued curses. What could he do? He doesn't even know where I am right now. And even if he did, he wouldn't be able to get into the residential complex. Now he's completely run out of options. I turned off my phone and didn't want Ethan to keep bothering me. Online discussions about Ethan lasted a full week. During that time, life was exceptionally miserable for Ethan. Streamers hunted him down daily and beat him up every time they found him. Even at night when he tried to sleep, people would constantly knock on his door. Combined with his illness, his condition deteriorated severely. He even tried crying about his worsening health online, hoping someone would donate money to him. But what greeted him was nothing but a torrent of abuse. Those people, offended by Ethan's earlier remarks, not only refused to donate a single cent but also reported him for fraud. Dejected, he closed the livestream, and after that, I never heard from Ethan again. As for me, I just watched quietly. I knew Ethan was nearing his breaking point. Sure enough, a month later, I received the news. Ethan went abroad and found Isabella. He went to seek Isabella's help, but since she had left him precisely because she knew about his illness, how could she possibly help Ethan? When Isabella refused, Ethan flew into a rage. He lunged at her, pulled out a knife, and stabbed her to death. Then, he threw himself into the river and drowned. I wasn't surprised when I heard the news. In my previous life, he pushed me off a balcony for Isabella's sake. In this life, him killing Isabella seems perfectly normal to me. As for Ethan's mother, she went completely mad upon hearing about his death. Last I heard, she'd been transferred from prison to a psychiatric hospital. As for me, I moved back into the house my parents left me. From now on, I'll live only for myself. The end.